Okay, so we're looking at common spreadsheet mistakes and how we rectify them so that the import or the spreadsheet is importable. So at the top, I'm just checking all of the headers are correct. We need you to use RM import template. Please don't edit any of the headers, or it won't import properly. Okay, so the first name and surname need to be in both columns. We can't have them in just one column. As you can see, I can edit them on a smaller spreadsheet, can edit them manually. That's easily fixed. However, if you have a spreadsheet of hundreds or thousands of names, that would take a really long time to do. So we can split them with the text to columns function. In the data tab, we go to text to columns, and you've selected the column you want to divide. You click limited, and then you want to click the space option. So it divides them based on the space in the middle. As you can see, it split them. So you want to make sure space is selected. Next. And then finish, and it will always come up with that. You can just press OK. And there you can see they've been split into two different columns now. And we just want to re-add our surname header because, as I said, it won't import without the headers there. Okay, so that's a quick way to do it when you've got loads of them. And here I'm just checking there's no spaces after the names because that can cause problems with importing. But when you do text to columns, it gets rid of the spaces. Just going to the email section, you can put an email if you want, you don't have to. Sometimes we find publishers put a company name in the email section. That's going to stop it from importing, so we can put that into the address line instead. You can put it into the surname column if you want, but I think address line is always the best bet. Now onto the addresses, we need to check that they're all under 30 characters. So from address lines 1 to 4, each cell needs to be under 30 characters or it won't import. So just looking by eye, I can see that those are over 30 characters. So I'm going to go ahead and edit them manually, which is easily done. With small imports like this, we can do it by eye, and then when we try and import it, it will always tell us, oh, this is over 30 characters, so you don't need to worry, nothing's going to get chopped off the end. Yep, so quite easy to go through and do that. You can always come back and edit a little bit more. But if you've got a really big spreadsheet with lots and lots of addresses, it's going to take a really long time to do that manually and by eye. So we have a formula, which is a really handy, quick way to find long addresses, and it tells you how many characters over we are, and then we can edit them accordingly. So I'll go ahead and add 2 lines above the headers, and that's where our little formulas down here, I've just got them there for hand. That's where our formula is going to go. So that one is to find the longest address cell location. I'm going to stick that up there, 2 lines above. And we need to make sure it's applied to the correct cells. So it's going to be E4. As you can see, that's the first line we're looking at. And then the last line we're looking at is E11. So just change that to E4 and E11. And with this formula, you need to add it in 3 times. So you can see me there adding it again. And 1 more time. So that just means it's looking at those cells. And it's going to tell us where the longest one is. See, E7. That means the longest address is there, and we'll need to edit that one. For the longest address length, we use this formula. And we're just going to stick that one underneath the other one there. And just do the same, E4 and then E11. So we're looking at the right cells. Okay, so if we press Control G, that's going to take us to a cell locating tab, and we can put in E7 and it takes us to E7. So yep, Control G, there it is. That's the Go To tab, and we type in E7, and that's taken us to the longest address, and we can see it's 60 characters long. So we just need to chop that bit off and add it to address line 2. And then once that one's finished, it will take us to the next longest one, which is E8. I know this seems really obvious here, but when you've got a spreadsheet of hundreds or thousands of addresses, it's super handy because you'd never be able to spot them all by eye. Also, it saves you guessing because it tells you the amount of characters there are. So you can see I'm at 49, so I need to remove 19 characters. And look, yeah, we're still a little bit over. We've still got 32 characters in E8, so we're just going to chop off a little bit more. There we go. And that is column E is now processable. They're all under 30. You can see the longest address is only 25 characters, so that's absolutely fine. But we need to check address lines 2, 3, and 4 as well. So we can just drag this across with the bottom right-hand corner of the cell. You see the little cross appear, and you can just drag that across so it applies to all the cells. And now it's telling us that F7 is still over 30 characters. So if I type in F7 into the go-to function, it takes us to the right cell. And we'll just move everything over and chop that one up so it's under 30 characters. Okay. Now if you look at all of them up at the top, we're all below 30 characters, so the addresses are ready to be processed. It is important that address line 1 is always filled in. Having gaps in there will cause problems with our post, so we always need address 1 filled in. The other ones aren't mandatory, they're optional depending on how long your address is. Okay, now we're on to the postcode. The postcode needs to be populated. Sometimes it's left in one of the addresses, in one of the address fields. Sometimes we're not provided one at all. We could Google that, we could look it up, but I don't like to guess. I prefer to go back to the publisher at this point and just double check. That way, it's never good to assume these things. We'd rather ask the publisher there. So I'll just highlight that one and I'd probably put it in a different spreadsheet, take it back to the publisher and get them to confirm the postcode for me. Okay, now onto the countries. Our countries have to be in a specific format. And they have to be populated as well. They can't be empty. Just back to postcodes quickly. Say the country is Hong Kong. They don't use postcodes. If we could populate that, we'll just put 5 zeros. If you put a little apostrophe before the zeros, it won't automatically correct to just 1 0, because that does happen. So another one that doesn't use postcodes is the UAE, United Arab Emirates. So again, just put 5 zeros. There we go, so that will process because the postcode is filled in. In fact, let's just leave them there for clarity. Okay, MAG ID and Start Issue ID. These need to be populated. Sometimes if there's cover options or a publisher maybe doesn't know their codes, they might just put the issue number and the name, but it won't import like that. We're just going to add the codes anyway, so you can find your IDs, your issue IDs and MAG IDs in the portal, or you can always email us at issue setup, talk to me or Ellie, and we can give you your codes. We can set them up in advance, or we can set them up whenever you like. Just give us a shout and we'll let you know. Onto this confusing section, quantity, issues purchased and issues remaining. So here, 330, that means the quantity is 3. The customer is going to receive 3 copies. But these two numbers need to be the same. So right now, where it's 331, let me just move that. Right now, where that's 311, that means they're going to receive 3 copies and they're on a 1-issue subscription. So if you think about these two columns as subscription length, the publisher has put 3, then 3, then 0, because I think they've interpreted it as they've asked for 3 copies of this issue, so they've purchased 3 issues, or 3 copies, but no, these two numbers always need to be the same. So yeah, as you can see, that one is 3 copies, and it's a 1 issue purchase. That's 1 copy and a 1 issue subscription, so they're just getting the 1 issue. This is another common mistake we see, where they'll just want one copy, and they're trying to put them on a 3 issue subscription. So they've put 3 issues purchased, and now there's 2 remaining. It's understandable how you'd interpret it this way, but these two numbers need to be the same. If we're putting them on a 3 issue subscription, we put 3 in both columns. That will be imported into our admin, and the customer will automatically be sent the next 2 issues after this one until their subscription is complete. Then it will automatically end. So these two numbers, again, just to reiterate, they need to be the same. They can't be different numbers, or it's not going to import, and we'll just need to check with you how long the subscription should be. So I'm just changing that to 3, because I imagine they're on a 3 issue subscription. These 111s just mean one-off purchase, 1 copy, that's all. This one with the 3 4s, that means they've ordered 4 copies. In this delivery, they're going to receive 4 copies, and now they're on a 4 issue subscription, so they're going to receive the succeeding 3 copies, next 3 issues, sorry. This one's blank, and similar to the postcode, I wouldn't want to assume what a customer is subscribed to. I don't want to assume that they're on a 1 issue sub, or if they're on a 4 issue sub. So I'd go back to the publisher and just double check, should this customer be receiving a subscription, or is this a one-off purchase? And lastly, the currency code needs to be filled in. But the total value and shipping do not have to be filled in. This is what your customer has paid for their copies. So say they've paid £6 for the total value of the actual copy of the magazine itself, but the shipping was £0, or €0, excuse me. That means they'll be charged, or your IOSS, depending how you are processing EU VAT. If you're IOSS registered, that's what will be charged. The charge will be based on, or say it's 5 GBP. That's what the VAT will be based on. This amount. If you leave it blank, then our admin will automatically populate it with the cover price that we have on our admin. So say your magazine is £5. And the shipping is £2.50 based on newsstand shipping costs, then that's what will be populated. If you are IOSS registered, and of course it's under €150, then our admin will also automatically take that from your account and it will be applied. If you're IOSS registered, you don't need to worry about anything. Just let that carry on. Yeah, USD, GBP, any currency that the customer's paid in, as long as it's filled out with something. If it's not filled out, I'll usually just put GBP, and then, like I said, I'll just let the admin populate the total value and shipping automatically. If you are sending complimentary copies, specifically copies that a customer hasn't paid for, they're complimentary, they're gifts. It might be a contributor, or just a gift copy. Please put those in a separate spreadsheet, because we process them totally differently. We do them through Nexi on the browser. We don't import these into our system, because we need to make sure they are sent as a gift, so they're not applied. They're not subject to VAT. So if you have anything like this, a complimentary gift, a copy that you're not charged, that's not been charged for, please send it in a different spreadsheet. Please let us know in the body of an email as well. That's always helpful. Just make it as clear as possible so that we don't accidentally import anything that shouldn't be subject to VAT. So I think that covers everything. As always, if you have any questions, you can just send us an email at issuesetup. Ellie or I will always be happy to answer any questions you have. I'd be more than happy to take a call and go through this all again, because it can be tricky to remember all these little rules and tricks. So, all right, thank you for your time.